Hey guys, Chad Tracy here, back with another video. I was terminated after 18 and a half years of service because of two officers that lied and said I threatened them and called them a pussy and a faggot. So here we are today. I reached out to the PBA president during the first incident, or right before the first incident, and told him what was going on in the institution with the IVP, which is Turtle Nuts. Turtle Nuts would not do anything about it. He'd rather help out the women or the new people that were coming in. No seasoned vets said he was willing to help. And it's not through my opinion. That was fact at the time. So I talked to the PBA president in reference to all this on Friday, October 13th. And he sensed a safety and security issue. And this is the time that they had changed our hours also. Myself and my partners from 5:30 to 1:30 to 7:30 to 3:30 with no permission from Uptown. And that's why we called our rep for that area. But later on, we found out through another PBA person that PBA rep was extremely tight with the administrator snake in the grass. And unfortunately, that's the way it went down. So, when you're tight with people, I guess you tend not to do your job. That's an unfortunate thing because you got to do what's right. And that's all I asked for. If people did what was right and what past practice was, a lot of people wouldn't be in the positions that they're in. As far as getting in trouble and stuff like that. So October 16th rolls around, which is a Monday. A couple days later, I was going to put the grievance in on that day, and which I did later on that day. I did, and I allegedly threatened or called him a pussy and a faggot. Although I had 3 witnesses, he had 1. That's how it went down. And the camera footage of that particular day, we actually requested, myself and my attorney requested it. New Jersey DOC would not provide it. They said that they didn't have it, there's no way of getting it, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, it would actually verify exactly where his person was, where his witness was, because he was a known liar throughout the jail. Although he may be our person that's in operations, our lieutenant, he was known to lie in past practices, and past things that happened throughout the jail. He would only stick up for certain people, not others. And it's not based on opinion, that's based on fact. And I'm not going to give examples. If I'm questioned by DOC or brought in by DOC, I will give facts there, not here. So as far as that goes, that happened. I was asked to do a special by Humpty Dumpty, our lieutenant at the time. He was like real fat. And now he's like crackhead skinny because he got the sleeve and, all that stuff. But he's still the same person. You can't polish a turd, right, guys? That's pretty much what they say. If you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit. If you're part of the good old boys club and you're used to having backing, that's all you ever know. So he's always been part of the good old boys club. And he's still part of it now at Garden State. But as soon as you get rid of that one major that we talked about before, the dirty one with the dirty white shirt, not cleansed, not shaved, has the appearance of just being disgustingly dirty, doesn't carry himself well at all. Yeah, that's he needs to be removed from there. But anyways, that's a whole nother story. We'll get into that later on when I get transferred over there. After the second incident, I get transferred over there. And it's going to be a doozy because I have a lot to say during that when I was over there. So, getting back to Turtle Nuts, he wrote up this stuff that I threatened him and so on and so forth, that he has the lieutenant in operations. He does one too, backing up Lieutenant Story, and so on and so forth. So I actually get pulled. I get sent over. I actually get pulled out of the main jail, and they put me over in ATSEG for the remainder of the shift. So, guys are asking when I get over to ATSEG what happened. I tell them that's fucking bullshit. That's what they're saying. Fuck Turtle Nuts. He doesn't do anything for us. He's just all for, the ladies, so on and so forth. And, they're going out because they know I'm a decent officer. They know Turtle Nuts' past from him going to Trenton, him getting beat up a couple times over there. Then they know his, that they didn't want him back at Mid-State because what he did over there. And now we have him because it always seems, for some odd reason, that Wagner, and I'm not saying this for everyone, but it always seems that Wagner at the time, or during my presence at Wagner, we got like the dumping grounds for officers that appeared to have problems everywhere else in the state. So although they didn't have any problems when we were there, only maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it was. But through my experience there, it was the dumping grounds for DOC. That's what they would do. They would always dump the officers that they thought were pieces of shit at Wagner for some reason. Or they got in trouble or whatever it may have been. It's just crazy how DOC had done certain things. Maybe it's just because of people that were in charge at the time. But here we are. So I put in a job bid, right? And that's what we had to do for different days off. The most senior person, meaning the person with the most seniority, would get that job. And generally, like, if you bid it on, like with myself, I had 18 and a half years in. So generally, I would get mostly all, if not, other than if there was people with more time in than me that wanted the job, they would get it or I would get it. Anybody below me obviously wouldn't get it because we did everything by seniority in there, our start dates. So on that same day, October 16th, I put a bid form for I-Wing support because I wanted to get out of the main building because I just had this strong feeling that it wasn't done yet. Meaning that the harassment, the intimidation, just everything wasn't done yet. I felt like there was more. Like one of his boys, one of Turtle Nuts' buddies, were going to retaliate against me and try to lie on me and get me terminated and get me fired. Matter of fact, and listen. My wife knows this, or ex-wife knows this, that during this time, I came home almost every day, sat at the table at our island in our house that we owned, and I cried. I cried almost every single night because when you know something is going to happen, but you just can't do anything about it, and you just have to wait and wait and wait until they do something, that's what it was. And I have dates and I have times that I've talked to people to try to get out of the main building and you can obviously see that I put a bid form in to get out of the main building to go out to I-Wing. And I-Wing was like a support of the main building where a lot of the inmates were, they were going home shortly. It was a min unit, although it was tightly ran with, it had fences around it. It was a min unit. The inmates respected you. You had no issues with anything out there. And although that it was pretty laid back, everybody always did their job out there. So with that being said, we had a great supervisor out there at the time that I got along with very well. He knew I did my job. And let me describe something to you guys. There's a difference between, piece of shit officers and officers that just get caught up with bullshit. I was one of those officers that got caught up with bullshit. I wasn't one of those officers that were dating an inmate or excuse my French, fucking an inmate, or bringing drugs in for inmates, bringing food in for inmates, or undue familiarity with inmates, being too close to inmates. I was not that officer. Only thing I'm guilty of is getting terminated and trying to do always what was right. But for ungodly reason, everything was against me, and I got terminated after 18 and a half years. I didn't surround myself with too many people. I'm more of a loner, a leader. I did my thing, and I wasn't part of the good old boys club because I just didn't believe on it. I didn't believe in picking on weaker officers. And what I mean by weak is sometimes there's officers that can't really defend themselves, and they absorb everything and they take everything in. And, sometimes weaker officers are ones that don't speak up for themselves, or what they think are weaker officers. In there, it's the person with the sharpest tongue, meaning that, you say something smart to someone and then they kick it back and then you go right back at them. So whoever can shut that person up first, that's how it goes down. I mean, if I'm lying, please help me, guys. Listen, I'm going to start going live also. So we're going to have some Q&As that I definitely invite. I definitely invite some questions and answers in there. You have questions, I'll give you answers. And we're going to go live, and it's going to be a good thing. So we're going to try that out and see how that works out for us, guys. But so getting back, I put a bid form in for I-Wing support. And what happened was they didn't want me to go out to I-Wing support, meaning Snake in the Grass administrator did not want me to go outside to either ATSEG, or they didn't want me to go to I-Wing. I honestly couldn't have went out to I-Wing at the time because there was a rumor going around that I had told on ATSEG guys that during that time they got permission from the administrator, which was the one administrator that was there prior, allowed those guys to cook and gave them permission, and it was all approved and so on and so forth. So on certain days, on certain day of the week, they would cook out there, and we would all kind of get together and eat and bring in our own food or put our money in, and people go out and buy it, and we would cook, right? So it was told that I called up uptown and told people that they were cooking, and that's very, very unfactual, very untrue. It was one of the majors that were spreading that rumor, and we're going to get into that shortly. Maybe if he wasn't so worried about spreading rumors about myself, he could control his wife in the jail, or maybe even himself in the jail, with how many ladies that or tried to have sex with. But it sucks though that people have a voice, and a lot of this stuff is going unheard and unchecked. But everything I speak is the truth, and I could tell you who they tried to hit on and who they had sex with, although it may not be important to some, but it's important to my story on how everything went down. So this major, so we're not going to get into the major story just yet, but we will eventually, actually shortly. And, I put in a job bid for I-Wing support, and it just so happens that there was a policy put out, or a letterhead put out from operations, or even the administrator, that there would be the lieutenant of operations and the IVP of the institution will go through the job bid forms, right? So it just so happens that the IVP of the institution, Turtle Nuts, he put that, he put the special in, and later on I was charged with 30 days and 30 days off. for alleged infractions. But that's going to get into it later. And then we have the lieutenant that, what the hell was his name? Damn. Lieutenant Snail. Lieutenant Snail was, remember guys, was the one lieutenant that I slammed on his head in F1 control. When he kept touching me, assaulting me, did it twice, and thirdly, he jumped on me. So he actually technically did it 3 times. And I did defend myself, right? Well, he was the operations lieutenant at the time. And I think he still is at Mid-State. I think that's where he's at. I don't even know, to be honest with you. So we go. So they go to the box and they get out all the job bid forms, right? For, there's like 3 or 4 that were up for bid. I-Wing support being one of them with weekends off. 6 to 2, weekends off. It would have been perfect for me because, I could get out of the jail, be out of the limelight, do my thing over there. The sergeant that was over there would have had my back, would have had no problems because he's a very, very strong officer, and he didn't get along, or excuse me, he was a very strong sergeant. Not that he didn't get along with the administration, but the administration knew that he didn't play. He was very well connected throughout the state. And when you're very well connected throughout the state with people that you know and the higher ups, the people that are harassing officers or trying to intimidate officers, or the good old boy club is going after, they don't generally mess with that person because that person's so well connected throughout the state. And I'm going to give you examples, and I know I'm going to hurt feelings with this. And, listen, there's a lot of good people and there's a lot of good friends out there. And if I put somebody out there, sometimes you have to do what you have to do for yourself, and there's no hard feelings. And I'm sure if they're really good friends of mine, they're not going to mind. They understand. So we'll get into that in another segment. But yeah, so they took out all the job bids, right? And they posted who got awarded, probably like that day or the next day, who got awarded the job bid for I-Wing support. So, granted, the 2 people that took the job bid forms out of the box, took them out of the box. Although there's a camera on them, they took them into operations because, we tried to look at the cameras, and it was witnessed that they brought them right into operations where there was no cameras. They went through all the job bid forms, and one of the people that were in there, she knew, I don't know if she retired or she knew long. She's retired, yes. She witnessed them going through it, and she witnessed somebody crumpling up a piece of paper. She didn't know exactly what it was until later on. She kind of put 2 and 2 together. So perhaps that was my job bid form. I don't know. But it just so happens that I made a copy of that, right? So I made a copy of my job bid form. And at that time, past practice has always been that, if one goes missing, or they're trying to say that, you put one in and they didn't get it, the past practices is that if you had a copy of it, right, that, you would hand in that copy or photocopy of that copy and hand it in. And that's exactly what I did. So I handed it into the majors. And mind you, Major Coward wasn't doing anything because he didn't have a backbone. He's never had a backbone in his whole career. Even as a, we won't get into it. As an officer, sergeant, lieutenant, there was no backbone with this guy. That's why he made rank so fast, so he can gain respect, because nobody respected him. Major Pretty Boy, everybody respected that guy. He was a great guy, decent guy. And he said, listen, bring up to Turtle Nuts. No, not Turtle Nuts. Snake in the Grass. And Snake in the Grass said, no, we're not giving him that job. And they later said that my date on that piece of paper was, what they say, that it was false, that I made it up, and that I did everything myself. That's what they did. Although it was at the same timestamp on every other thing, and they could see that on camera that I did timestamp it. But whatever, you know what I mean? So they ended up not giving me that job bid. Although I did have a copy, and past practice has always been that you give it to the person with the job bid form. So number one, I had the Lieutenant Snail against me. Then I had Turtle Nuts, which is an IVP, against me. I had the Major Coward was against me. And then I had Snake in the Grass against me, the Administrator Snake in the Grass, or Don Juan, that was on all the females, thinking that he was like, the cat's meow or whatever. Like he was like hot stuff. So I had, those 3 individuals against me. And I never actually got awarded that bid, although it was past practice. So here we are, guys. So I never got it. It would have probably not gotten me the second charge during that time also, because if I would have been on I-Wing, I would have been clear, to do my own, not my own thing, but, be by myself, strip out inmates or whatever I had to do, and I would have been perfectly fine. But they knew what they were doing by keeping me in the main. And later on, 14 days later, I ended up having a heart attack on the job. The 29th, No, excuse me, 2 months later, I ended up having a heart attack on the job during the second incident. So that's about it for today, guys. We're going to get back into it. And remember, we're going to go live. So if anybody wants to join that, please subscribe. You have to subscribe if you want to go live, guys. And it would be good. Any questions and answers? I know people are making up fake profiles. It's all good. As long as you guys watch, I don't care who's watching. Even if the people that lied against me are watching, if you have questions, come in and ask. I'll answer them. I'm not intimidated. I'm not going to shut up, and I'm not going to stop. So if you think that, by you saying certain things, my skeletons are out, I'm fully divorced, my ex-wife knows everything. And I just want to say, hey, you know what, guys? You did what you had to do, and you should be proud of yourselves. But you got to remember this, that, karma's going to strike. It may not get you today, it may not get you tomorrow, but it's going to strike you. And I wish you well with everything if and when it happens to you, because there's no telling when things can happen. But I wish everybody the best as always. We're going to be going live so for some Q&As, which is going to get interesting. I talked to somebody else, and actually today I talked to somebody. It's Sunday, and I talked to somebody, and you're feeling kind of down on yourself or whatever, and guess what? I guess it's God's way of pushing you forward to get your story out there further. So yeah, and I still stand by that. That I was definitely harassed. It was definitely a hostile work environment. They definitely violated my civil rights. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell you what they violated, because if I went up here and told you that, right, wouldn't I be telling you what the lawsuit would be about? If you guys don't know what they're doing and you can't figure out themselves and read between the lines, then I guess you don't know your civil rights. You don't know what hostile work environment is, and you don't know what the whistleblower is. So you guys should definitely look into all that, so you know what your rights are. So you know when the department or certain individuals are trying to screw with you, or give you health problems and stressing you out and things of that nature. Man, as I talk, there's just more and more things coming out. But you know what? That person that reached out to me, he was a very, very good friend of mine that I considered. And and just a straight-laced guy. And it was actually good to hear, and it pushed me forward today. Got me out of bed, got me moving. It's my day off, kind of enjoying it. Go hit the gym, guys. Listen, if you guys want to reach out, it's Trey, Treyy, 1975 at gmail.com. Or, there's people around the state that everybody knows each other. You can get my phone number through there. My enemies have it. If you want to call them enemies, because they're not really my enemies. I don't consider them my enemies. They just lied on me. So I consider them far associates. But anyways, it is what it is, guys. Like, listen, it's unfortunate that people lie on you to get you terminated because they know you always do everything right. And that's the only way they can get you terminated. And DOC, if you're not going to listen, New Jersey DOC, you got a commissioner, you got the assistant commissioner, you got all those people that are up there. You guys have to be watching this. And listen, anytime you guys want to bring myself and my attorney up there, we're more than willing to come up and talk and present our facts to you. And I would love to walk through those doors again, because I carried myself nothing but I've always had pride in my uniform. I was always clean shaven. I've always carried myself with respect. And listen, a lot's changed over 6-7 years. You open up your own business. You change as a person. You take pride in your work, because your work reflects on who you are as a person, right? You can look at my Google reviews. You can look at anywhere you want on my pages. There's nothing but pure satisfaction, and I take care of my my friends, family, and especially my customers. I have my new job that actually, you definitely need great customer service skills. It's almost like DOC, but it's a cleaner setting. So I'm not gonna sit here and sell myself, but I would definitely survive in there now. It's a totally different mindset. I allowed mediocre people, to take my my money. Mediocre people at best, because that's exactly what they are. Take my money. I screwed up my family, but that's always a work in progress, right, guys? So you never know what the future holds. But I can tell you this, is that I've definitely changed as a person, and I just had to get my story out. And it's going to hurt feelings, and it's going to make me enemies. But if you're in my situation, I would only expect the same from you. But if you didn't say anything, or you had nothing to do with termination, you have no worries whatsoever. But the people that did, not that I'm coming at you, I'm not. I'm just telling my story. You just happen to be part of the story. So, it kind of is what it is. If you got skeletons, or if you live in a glass house, the skeletons are going to come out. Those boulders will break that glass that you live in. So, listen, I guess you have to wait. Just like I had to wait to get terminated, right? Because I knew it was coming. I just didn't know which way it was coming from. I guess you're going to have to wait and see too, right? But anyways, guys, we're going live. We're going to try it out, see how it works out. And we're going to have some fun with that. See where it leads us. And after, we're going to post it. And that's going to be our Q&A. And I hope people get up there and ask questions. And listen, I support everyone. Past brothers in blue, all brothers in blue. A lot of friends, family that are corrections, police, troopers, FBI, what else? Judges. They're all out there. I have a lot of respect in the community as far as, where I live and people that know me. And they know certain things about me that other people don't. I have a very high understanding, as I say high, right? There's people in DOC that are getting so, and I'll speak on this, that there's people in DOC right now, and I'm sure there's no test that you can see or find or whatever, and that's why they're doing it. As they're getting high as hell before they go into work. And DOC, you're not doing anything about it. And you heard it here first. You heard it here first. And I can't speak for everywhere in the state because I'm not going to say that. But I can definitely speak on Garden State. And I can definitely, well, not Garden State as a whole. I can definitely speak on some of the guys in the RHU unit or ATSEG or whatever, something like that. Not all. There's a lot of good officers there. But there's a select few that are getting high before work, and they're showing up there high. So, listen, I guess I'm just a piece of shit also that I got fired, that you're not going to believe a word I say. But check it out. See if I'm telling the truth. And if there's no test being implemented, that's a first area that you may want to try. All right, guys. Q&A coming. Any questions? Let me know. If you got to get in contact me, easily found. We'll go from there. Have a happy Sunday. I'll see you guys soon.